Whoa, 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 whoa. We're not doing that. Okay, we're not doing this theme song no more. Okay, I got an upgrade thanks to my good friend Paul Carroll, aka Infamous C. Check out his episode. Now, without further ado, thank you so much. Listen to it, and the credits will be down in the description. Peace.
Yeah, yeah. Step up to the plate. Yeah, we calling it straight. No cap in the game. Yeah, we speaking no fake. On this count cash. While the fans get played, while the players risk it all just to earn they pay. We break it all down. Yeah, the truth gon' show behind every deal. Yeah, it's money and soul. From the dugout talk to the front office lies. Welcome to the show where we cut through the disguise. Steady on BS. Yeah, steady on BS. Let's go.
Stadium BS is in the house. www.castellonms.com, where I'm selling everything, including the kitchen sink and my hair follicles. I do have a special guest here today. He is a very important, impactful person when it comes to bringing baseball into different parts of the world. And he's actually doing a huge impact project that is basically going to transform Africa into a baseball hub. I have Mario Signorello. How are you, Mario? Did I said that right? First off.
Sure, you said it right. That's the American version of it. Signorello is the Italian one, but I messed it up. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for helping, for having me on and letting me tell the story.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really do appreciate it. So we've gotten conversations back and forth, and they were very good conversations. Got to know you pretty well. And one of the things that you always told me, and I've seen your videos on this one, you owe it to remember you or to know you. You go by four numbers: 15, 30, 10, and 5. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, that those are my representation. That's a short version of what I've done in baseball. 15 years as a Miami Marlins senior executive, 30 years in college baseball running a spring break event in a college summer league, 10 years in international baseball with the World Comes to the Palm Beaches, and I've been 5 years invested in Africa and the Africa Baseball Project. And those have overlapped each other, so it's not, I'm not 90. But those are the ones that kind of best describe what my involvement with baseball is.
Awesome. This is wonderful. My next question is because anytime that I've talking to you, or every time I see a video or a picture or whatever the case may be, I always see you in the Marlins jersey. You mentioned that you're a senior executive, was a senior executive of the Miami Marlins. Tell me about what you did for them.
It was a lot different. Well, before that, I grew up here with no baseball. Then,
Yes.
then, then we had a team, and then my team won the World Series twice. And then I went to work for them for a program called the Youth Baseball and Softball Partnership Program. When I was running my college baseball event, I did a lot of emphasis on youth and free clinics and getting kids and running the bases and cheap beer, and got a lot of parents and families to come into it because I was a parent myself. So the
Yeah.
Marlins were at my opening night, my college baseball event, said, how do you get so many kids? That eventually turned to more discussions, and I wrote my own job description. I handed it, David Sampson set me up to talk with Sean Flynn, the vice president of marketing department, not many major league teams are open to different ideas, but the Marlins were, and I started with them and wrote my own business plan. I didn't turn in a resume until my first day on the job because I'd actually wrote the business plan, and my involvement my job was to get kids to grow up as Marlin fans, and everything I did was revenue producing. So we came up through a series of different a series of different promotions and things that we did that we would have wanted to do as kids. We started a program called Dugout Buddies, where kids got to sit in the dugout during a game, during batting practice and meet some of the players. Youth
Nice.
Baseball Invitational, where kids got to play on the field. We made three mini fields on our field, and parents watched their kids play as 4 to 8 year olds on our field. And high school baseball, Field of Dreams, started where kids get to play. And I might be involved with them again. We've had discussions, and there's a proposal in there now. So because Miami is my play, and I'm a homer to the extent. So this is to represent my hometown and to represent the highest level of baseball there. I just think that's a good vision for me.
That's a wonderful impact, especially working with a major league organization and um, trying to get youth, inner city youths, into the game of baseball. And partnering with the Marlins was a real good combination.
It was fantastic. Our president, David Sampson, gave me a free hand. The only thing he asked is don't screw up. I didn't have to ask him for permission. Just don't screw up. He used a different word. And then
I know exactly what the different word is.
and then when I did one time, he walked up to me at a conference we were having and said, "Remember what I told you about screwing up?" And I said, "Yeah." He said, "Try not to do it again." So that that was part of the showmanship that's I'm trying to work now with my other events, and I'd like to tie together with Africa.
Gotcha. Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Do you listen to this podcast? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, yeah. I just had befriended Kevin Johnson, and then I he sent me the his podcast, and I saw you there, and I thought, wow, this is good.
Hey, I'm trying to go up the ranks. Maybe I'll eventually have him on the show, and then we can go toe to toe.
Mm.
Because I'm like we talk about the similar things pretty much, and I have my opinion, he has his, and he's from an executive point of view. I'm from a fan point of view, but we get the same gist of it. So I was just curious about that. So the Africa Baseball Project, tell me about that.
Uh, yeah, in my during COVID, Gift Ngope called me up. He's the first African-born player ever to play Major League Baseball, and he told me what his ideas were for COVID, what his ideas were for Africa, and he wanted to do a league there. And I thought, well, you got to start with infrastructure. Kids start playing, and we went back and forth. This was on a Friday. I said, let me call him on Monday, and I kind of knew I would need some help with this. So Andre Dawson joined the board, and Charles Johnson and his business partner Chantel Bullock, and we became the Africa Baseball Project.
Mhm.
There, but now what do you do? I knew this was a massive project, a massive undertaking, but I didn't think anybody else was dumb enough but me to do it. So I called him up on Monday on after the weekend, and I we started talking about different things and how we moved forward. And I said, "What made you call me?" And he said, "Actually, I called a couple other people first." I go, "That's fine. You didn't know me from Adam, Matt. What made you call me? Uh,
Mhm.
what made you call me?" He said, "Well, I saw you were active in some things, and I like to, you seem to have a lot of passion in what you do." I go, "Well, what do the other people say?" He goes, "Most of their questions were what was in it for them, and you haven't asked me that question yet." And I said, "Dude, you just put this on me." So uh, I've been to 4 countries, and but the bug bit me the first time I was there when I went to Tanzania, and wonderful people there. My brother Alferio Morris, we call him my brother from another mother, as we relate, because he's just a wonderful baseball man and human being and parent, and done a great job. The Japanese gave them $127,000, and they built really as nice a facility as you can get, and it's one of the top ones in Africa. I bring a whole bunch of equipment, about 156 different pieces, and I said, let's lay it out on the stands. Their field is on the field of a secondary school, so when the kids get out, let's take pictures and invite the press.
Yeah.
Well, CNN of New York, of East Africa shows up, or lack of a better, all these other ones are taking pictures, and all of a sudden I'm on TV, and people are wanting to meet me. Uh, and then we get to the clinic day, and I said, "How many going to show up?" And he said, 10 to 20, but at least 10. And I said, "How much help? Who do I have?" He goes, "You have our technical director." I go, "Does he speak English?" He goes, "Do you speak Swahili?" And I said, "No." He goes, "It's baseball, though. You guys will get along fine."
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly.
then 42 people show up. So I'm like, wow, how are we going to do this? And then a Japanese guy comes up in broken English, which was much better than my Japanese. Says he lives there and saw me on TV and his friends are visiting high school coach. Do we need help? I told him he's in charge of batting and gave him the Japanese Swahili. Batting's the same. So
Mhm.
the high school coach, and then Jason Crook comes up, and he says, "I played 4 year Canadian. I played teach at international school. Played 4 years of college baseball. Do you need help?" Threw him the bat. Said, "You're in charge of IO." And then and we're doing it. We got four different stations: infield, hitting, fielding, and I'm doing pitching. And the gentleman comes up to me, and I heard he might be there because he lived 5 hours away, and says, "Are you Mario?" I said, "Yes, I am." He says, "Well, I just want to thank you what you're doing for the kids. I'm Jackie Robinson's son, David."
Wow, that came out of nowhere.
That I heard he might be there, but my hair still stands up, and I've told the story 150 times, the relevance of where I'm at doing this and what his dad did. And we I have been very privileged in my life. I have been able to do some things in baseball. I was there for Game 7 of the World Series when the Marlins won the first one. I watched Alex Gonzalez walk off the Yankees. I been to All-Star games and College World Series and five Super Bowls. And baseball and sports has given me the opportunity to travel. And when you do what you love, you don't work. But a lot of that was as a spectator. I There are many good people in Africa. I am late to the party with the people that have been doing things for years. There's a group out of Minnesota. It was an eye doctor who was visiting, volunteering, and a guy had seen baseball and asked him to bring baseball. Wants to bring baseball there. So he went
Mhm.
and told his high school buddy. And next thing you know, they're making a trip wreck, bringing bats and balls and everything else, and they're opening up baseball. And then the next, they bring them over to Minnesota to play, and they've been feeding them ever since. Uh, there's a group out of Kenya now, if we build it, that is working on a three-field complex, the largest outside of South Africa, and it's up and running and keep continuing it. And it's a bunch of volunteers that were playing together, and then locals wanted to play, and they said, you know what, Nairobi's 6 million people, we need a place for the kids to play, and now there's a place for the kids to play. Play Global is done in court. There's now a Little League regional tournament because of their involvement with it. Angels at bat. I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. And but the real heroes are there's I think 19 or 20 different organizations that we've got our footprint or talked to or communicated or have a footprint for baseball. We probably supported about a dozen of them, and it's what it's helping them to reach their goals. And we do a newsletter every month, and we try and feature a player, but also what a different organization does. So this way people can know there is really good things going in Africa. Sports and baseball, and our tagline is we're going to change the world in Africa through baseball. Baseball isn't changing anything. It's the vehicle we're using to create hope and opportunity, and it bonds communities together. It gives kids a place to go. It gives them a place to be able to do things. When I was in Kenya, I went to a I went to an orphanage, and I gave a 12-year-old a cup for the first time. He was a catcher. Uh,
Mhm.
when we were in Nigeria, we did a game, and the shortstop had sandals on, and we brought a bunch of shoes from Cooper City Optimist and my buddy Vince Britton, who collects every year, and he's 13 years old. He had his first pair of spikes. He tried to return them after the game, and then we told him they were his. They were his spikes. In Tanzania, they showed up with. We had 42 kids show up with 28 gloves, but because of donations from North Miami Beach Optimists and other great people, everybody walked away with a glove. Uh, these are things of impact that the same enthusiasm, the same baseball people that are here, that are there, that there's just not as much ability to fall through. There's not very little government help as far as facilities. So just about everybody has to run their own facility. But the
Right.
enthusiasm is there. And my God, the athleticism is there.
Mhm.
Once more people start playing, and it's going to increase by twofold, and within 5 years by four. I project a 200 to 300% rise in play within the next couple of years. And there's a kid right now with the Pittsburgh Pirates, David Matoma. He's 20
Mhm.
years old. He had no baseball background outside of South Africa, outside of Uganda. In his
Mhm.
first 2 years in the Dominican Summer League, obviously not speaking the language, he had an
Right.
ERA of 0.47. 46 strikeouts in 38 innings. He pitched in a couple spring training games. He's 20 years old and he throws 101. There's a
And
bill. Yeah, he's going to make it because he's got the ability, but he's also got the mental makeup to be able to go and excel and play against people without the background, without the baseball background. You're going to see as more athletes play the sport of baseball, it's going to be infiltrated. I project Uganda is going to be the next DR, where you're going to get more kids playing, more playing, and more. When you get more athletes playing the game of baseball, you're going to see great results.
let me ask you a question. The player that you just mentioned in the Pittsburgh Pirates, what team is he playing for affiliate wise? Is he A, double A, triple A?
This year, I believe he's starting out in low A in Bradenton.
Low A in Brayton. Okay,
Right, where he's
so
still younger than the average age.
wow.
Yeah, and he made road trips and he was in the dugout for spring training with the Pirates.
Wow, that's amazing. That's gonna be fun. If anyone that's in Bradenton in that area, go see him. I
And
would.
David Matoma. You could.
David Matoma.
Yeah, I went and saw Jose Fernandez when he was 19 and pitched for the Marlins, and I always like to see kids and say, okay, I saw him when. Yeah, and when I saw Jose pitch at the age of 19 in the Florida State League, I think there was a couple kids on the other team that thought they were going to rethink their future after seeing him throw. And David's got some electric stuff also, to be able to when you consider that he was totally Uganda born and bred, and treated, where he's going now.
Back in 2016, when I was following the Marlins at the time frame, my wife and I, when I think it was the All-Star game in San Diego, and we saw on TV Jose Fernandez pitch and all that, and I was like, "Oh my God, he's going to be a big star." And then all of a sudden, he died, and that was like it shocked all of us,
It,
and it still hits a nerve to this very day for me.
and it threw the franchise back
Oh, absolutely,
a lot.
absolutely.
And you've got a guy every 5 days that the other team fears.
Hmm.
They don't sleep as well the night before they're facing him,
Yeah,
and the day before they're facing him, they're also thinking, "I need to get a hit today." It changes it, and he was a good kid.
I could imagine. David Matoma. So I hope he is the next big thing. I'm like, and never know if once he goes into the majors, he might bring the continent on the map. Absolutely. Do you project that more of the continent's players going into Major League Baseball?
Well, it's a matter of time, just because sheer numbers, and
Okay.
and I compare to, the Bahamas about 15 years ago, where I've done an event for 15 years, so I left that out of my numbers there.
Mhm.
I saw a lot of level of talent and kids that were coming up and playing, and was just taken back. And some people think, because of my background and my pedigree, that I've had something to do with the Bahamas development. Absolutely nothing. My best thing that I had to do was timing and marketing it, and marketing it. And they should have their own WBC team too, by the way. I did a post on that. It was a pretty impressive team. But basically, there were three guys who went and played some pro ball, and knew what the culture shock was, and he came over and started developing kids at a younger age, and now you've got guys all over the minor leagues. Sebastian Walker was number 4 player, and played 19 double eight 19 last year, with Texas Rangers. He's out with an injury right now. There's 2 other guys in triple A, and everybody knows Jazz Chisholm, but there's more that are rising. So that's what happens when you take athletes, have them concentrate on baseball. there's 250 times the amount of people in Africa that are in the Bahamas. And if the Bahamas have 15 players playing playing minor league baseball, 250 times 15, there's not even that many players. But more athletes are going to start playing the game, and that's going to make everybody better as rise. It's going to take, it's going to take 3 to 5 years before you start seeing the swelling and the players coming up, but you can't skip the developmental process of being able to play. Yeah, that part, and I think one of the greatest athletes in the world ever, Michael Jordan, kind of showed that as good as he was, hitting a baseball is still a lot of the hardest thing to be able to do in sport. And if you skip that process of doing it consistently, year after year after year, you can't turn the clock back. I was with the team when Ichiro was with the Marlins. Every single day he was out there in the off season practicing. Every single day. There's a reason he's in the Hall of Fame. There's a reason he's that good.
And
Uh,
he's absolutely deserving of it.
yeah,
No questions asked.
and yeah, I've never seen a man work harder and do the things that he does. How consistently that he was out there, and I'm talking October, November when nobody else is doing it. He's there every single day.
That's unbelievable. My story behind this of why I'm doing all this. Originally, I started the podcast back in August, and it was to give my gripes of MLB. That was the original intention. And for the last, I'm gonna say 5 years, 6 years, I've been griping about the Rays and their stadium situation. We're not gonna go deep into this. I'm just there's gonna be a reason to it. So I griped about the Rays. I griped about the A's. That was the original intention of the podcast. And then all of a sudden, I had an idea, and I have these crazy ideas. And look at my videos. You'll find out why. But then I started looking around at different Facebook groups, and the one that caught my eye was one that has a baseball fan base in South Africa. I'm also rooted out there thanks to my father.
Mm-hmm.
So out of random, I just say, you know what? It never hurts to ask a question.
Mm-hmm.
It never does. I've learned that through doing this podcast. And I asked on the group, I said, listen, can you tell me what the impact of baseball is in South Africa? And I left my email, my phone number, how to contact me. All of a sudden, message after message after message after message. And it was a huge ripple effect. And it developed with which I need to actually get in touch with him again. The first episode, Ashley Scott, former WPC player. And I've started developing relationships with different baseball academies that I've spoken to, and it's now becoming a voice for different people that no one knows of that loves the game of baseball as much as I do. And I'm like, I developed a friend. You already know who I'm talking about, Yato. I developed a very good friendship with him, and others I have developed, just a bond. And anytime I speak with any of them, they always call me brother. And that's something that is absolutely rewarding. I went from one idea and it just opened the door to others, and that's something that's extremely fulfilling in the long run.
That's the part that bites me. Also, is the friendliness and the wanting and the acceptance of being able to do things because of where I've come from and because of our social media. It puts me out front a little bit.
Yeah.
But all I'm trying to do is get their message out. Get
Yes.
the message out that there is good baseball. There, 2 weeks ago on Easter Sunday or whenever Easter Sunday was,
Mhm.
I had a friend that was he donated money for a backstop. Somebody gave us a bad check last year, and they were supposed to get a backstop with it. And then there was a pastor group, B Ministries, donated some money, and and they didn't have the ability to buy it, but they had an architect draw it up and put it together and painted it, and 20 people showed up in concrete, and then all of a sudden it stands up, and now it looked like the birth of a child. The same way when Field of Dreams in Kenya and Nairobi came up, it was the first backstop, and now there's three fields all fenced in and grandstands and press boxes. It's incredible, but to see this in a country like Zambia, nobody's paying attention to,
Right.
and now the kids are in front of a backstop, and they did Bible study with Tony Valdez, the pastor, who would help arrange with the donation. That's what sports does. That's what baseball does. It brings kids out. It's Sunday. It's 5 o'clock there. They're not getting in trouble. They're on a ball field. They're hearing from the pastor across there, and they don't have to chase foul balls anymore because there's a
Exactly.
backstop to it. Those are the ones who are the Arsenal out of Cameroon. My God, this kid 8 years old, he saw the game of baseball. He liked it. He played 3 years with no equipment because they couldn't afford it and they couldn't get it to him. Then
Yep.
the Japanese sponsored a trip there. They gave him his first of equipment. At the age of 17, he started an academy. There are no baseball fields in in Cameroon. Just to practice, he has to rent and make up a backstop, and then he has to rent another one when they play games. He's got 200 kids. He gets donations from all over the place. He shows up at orphanages so the kids can be able to play and learn the game of baseball. He took a picture of the banner. We sent him a little bit of money. We helped sponsor him to go to China. So we've done some things with him. And they hold the banner up and the kids are saying baseball, baseball,
Yeah.
baseball. And it, we don't understand the impact that we can do. And that giving a child a place to play and something to do and what we're able to do. So that's the reason that's the part that bugs me, that the bug that bit me, that I want to help these organizations. We want to be able to raise enough money to where we can spread the wealth and help all the kids have gloves and shoes and play in safe environments. And when that happens, watch out. But there's so much more good that we're doing that we're doing that I felt it in I wrote a post about one day with the Marlins. I had over 100,000 in revenue because I had 6,000 kids in youth baseball leagues coming in, and David Sampson, our president, called to thank me. Uh, it was almost 9 years to the day to when Easter Sunday and the kids in Zambia celebrated
Mhm.
with the backstop, and I wish I was as good at fundraising as I am as I was selling tickets, because
Mhm.
then we'd be at a better spot. But that that when that went up and they sent me a video and put music to it, that's just a small thing about how we can make a difference 1,000 times. And that's what I'm inviting other people to do. You want to move it forward. You want to pay it forward. You want to do something that's tangible that you can see and feel and see the difference in, and then get involved with us.
One of my main goals, I've spoken in the first episode of this series, is I want to be an ambassador.
Hmm.
I'm rooted in South Africa, believe it or not, even though I don't look it. And I just want to make my kids proud that I did something to contribute into society. My last question for you is
You're hired, by the way.
thank you. Thank you. My last question, I started a trend of asking this question at the very end, and I love the answers I'm getting onto this. Once you're once you know your time is up, you're an old man, you're in your 90s. We'll say 90s. It's like you say you're not 90 now, you're 90 in the future. And you're sitting there and you realize everything you've done with your life. What would your legacy look like after you're gone?
Wow. Well, I'm I'm not a kid anymore, so
Mhm.
I'd like to build the legacy moving forward and to leave an impact. Uh, to leave an impact on Africa, on being able to say that, as I said to everybody, that if the Africa Baseball Project will once will change lives forever. For once generations are able to grow up playing baseball, it doesn't stop. Then it's forever and ever and ever. And there are many good people that are working on this to establish it, and it's going to take them and us a while, but but the infrastructure is being put in, so that this way it'll be sustainable, and that's it. If a kid can know that he can grow up and be able to participate in the game, that would that would be that would be special to me. That would be a mark that I would like to I would like to be able to leave, to say that I assisted others in reaching their goals.
And to all that are new to this podcast, if you go through my episodes, I've developed relationships with many people. You're included. Yato, Coach Andre, Kevin, Arcel, trying to remember the name from Detroit, Kurth. They all want to build something bigger than the game, and they're not asking for anything in return. They're just wanting to give out what they love, and it's the game of baseball. And that's something I applaud. That's something that I am for sure in support, and I will work with you every step of the way to make that happen.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Our capital campaign is May 1st through the 31st. It's gonna be a month long, and we want to tap into all the resources and tell people and find people who want to be able to contribute. Well, I'll be making a trip there later in the year. I had a friend who went with me one time, and it was an absolutely incredible experience. And if you want to pay it forward, if you want to see what the power of giving is and how you can impact people's lives and child's lives, then I encourage people to get with us. The fundraiser is going to be uh, done through GoFundMe, our GoFundMe page, and the goal is to raise $100,000 for the month. To raise $100,000 for the month, that'll pay for a year's worth of keeping the doors open. That'll pay for contributions both financially and fields, and I've got a friend this morning that I talked to who's going to Africa, and she's going to go to Tanzania and South Africa. And I said, well, you're going to bring equipment with you, and they'll help you. So that's how we're distributing it. I got it. There's another group that when cars get shipped over there, they put equipment in the in the cars that are going over, so we can get equipment to different people. Rawlings was coming through and donating to a few different people, but there's a lot to do, a lot more for it. And if you'd love to join the platform, please reach out to me.
Absolutely. And I will have the GoFundMe link on not only the YouTube description, the Facebook description, on every podcast platform, in addition to be on my website, www.castleonms.com. Mario, thank you so much for being on the show. I'm trying not to cry, but it just is extremely rewarding to have people help people. And that's what matters the most.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thank
And
you for allowing me to tell the story.
I'll send you a copy of this. That's not an issue, so you could share it with everyone.
Oh yeah, we'll put it out.
Awesome. All
All
right.
right.
Thank you so much.
Have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Bye bye. I just finished the interview with Mario, and it's what Stadium BS is all about. We BS, we chill out, we have a good time, we enjoy our game. Simple as that. And we want to share it with others everywhere we go around the world. Everywhere we go. And that's the most beautiful thing. And if it helps a kid develop a better future, then I'm for it. I am for it 1,000%. and I will do the best of my ability in order to make that continent a destination for baseball. So I wanted to give that take on that. I wanted to give um, just all around why I'm doing this and just just leaving a legacy saying, I helped this child. I help my children. I help this person's children play the game of baseball. So, really touching interview. Trying not to get emotional about it, but it feels good to be fulfilled that you know you made a difference. And that's the main goal is for Mario, for Yato, for Kevin, for Coach Andre, for Arcel, for Kurth, everyone who's on my show, they all want to make some sort of difference. And that is a very, very rewarding factor. Thank you so much for joining us at Stadium BS. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow on any podcast platform, leave a comment, share, tell a friend about the Stadium BS podcast. I have right now between 35 and 36 episodes. Go through them. Maybe you might learn something. Maybe you want to help out. Um, the link for the GoFundMe for the Africa Baseball Project is on my website at castleonms.com. I forgot to mention, but also I want to thank Paul Carroll. You've heard me in the beginning. This is the theme song for Stadium BS for now on, and I will put his info on the bottom. Credit to the artist, Joey Crack. Credit to Paul himself for doing this for me. I am forever grateful, and I will find a way to repay you. I will find a way. But be sure to like, subscribe, castleonms.com, survey, merch, past videos, past podcasts, everything under the sun, including my hair follicles. Until next time, Stadium BS signing off. Take care and God bless.